it's up to us to be creative and find those ways to create those memories for our kids, for our families, in our lives. It's the moments that count. I always tell my kids, you're not going to remember the stuff, you're going to remember the moments. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're continuing to talk about inflation and just the effect it has, but from a different perspective and approach. And the world continues going down the path it's going. Inflation is going up, economy is doing worse, etc., etc. You see all the sad stuff and everything. And the reality is that it affects a lot of things. It affects, plans that you had, maybe vacations and stuff like that. But there are still ways that you can be creative and still enjoy outings or vacations, maybe family events or stuff like that. And it's just a matter of putting in the work, putting in the effort, and realizing that, hey, maybe that vacation that we were planning on taking, where we were all going to fly to some destination or drive to somewhere far, maybe that's no longer in the cards because of the cost of airfare or gas or rentals or whatever the case may be. But then there's creativity. There's also the ability to scale back and still do things that will still provide those memories, because that's really what you're after. You're not after necessarily the event. It's the memories you want to create and that you want to imprint in your own mind and then the minds of your children, as you go and have these experiences together. For my wife and I, we had different options on the table of vacations that we wanted to do, and so our kids were aware of them. And just as a side note, this is also a great tool, I would say, or learning lesson, so that your kids can learn about how economy and inflation and things like that affect, and how it's not always just, daisies and roses and everything's perfect. That things happen that sometimes will make you alter course, will make you have to change direction, or make you have to alter plans that you had. So this has been a great tool to open conversation up, especially with our older two boys. When they say, oh, how come we're no longer going to do this, or what happened to this? And it's like, well, unfortunately, because of X, Y, and Z going on, we really have to consider doing something different. But again, that's not to say that we want to leave it where it's like, well, now we're doing nothing. So, instead of, again, taking that long trip, so it's like, well, what can we do locally? What can you do in your neighborhood, in your area? One of the things that my wife and I have discussed have been shorter trips, about a couple hours away. We live in Texas. Closest beach is about 2.5, 3 hours away. So it's like, well, hey, our kids haven't seen the ocean in a while. Maybe that's a good one that we can do on a long weekend. Or I can take a couple days off and we can go do that. And there's still cost, but it's significantly less than some of the other, trips that we might have been planning. Or, we talked with some friends of ours that they buy a pass that allows them to camp at different camps and different parks and different areas here within our region. And it's like, well, that's something that's doable, right? Because it's $70 or whatever the case may be. And then it's just driving there and, taking your own food and making your own lunches and dinners and everything like that. But you still create those memories. You still have those times with your kids where you can laugh, you can play games, have conversation, you can create stories and whatnot. So
getting your kids, as my husband mentioned, getting your kids involved in a lot of more communicating, but also getting them involved. For me, food is a huge topic of discussion with my husband and I, but also with the children, because
I love it. I love food.
We all love food, but also because I don't want things to go to waste, right? There's really not the option to let things go to waste, right? Not that there ever should have been, but definitely not right now. But also, I have learned getting them involved, hearing their input on types of foods that they want to enjoy as an alternative to eating out. We usually go out to eat after church on Sundays. It's been the norm. But if you go out to eat on a Sunday and then you've had maybe one midweek or end of the week eating out, that's already two. And with the family size that we have, plus inflation, it's looking at easily $50 to $60, and that's still being mindful with how we spend.
And that's having 2 young kids that literally all they eat is like, I just want French fries
and a shake.
And a shake.
It's the shake.
they're very low cost. But then when you get to myself, my wife, our now older 2 boys, well, we want to eat. I don't want just fries. I want a meal.
So what I did was I said, you guys, we're going to give this a try. I'm going to make a meal that is just no competition, or that the restaurants have no competition on me. And it was a little bit of a challenge, to be honest with you, for myself. Like, I was getting a little bit anxious, but we did loaded burgers. And I'm telling you, I marinated the meat the night before. I cooked the bacon the night before. I did everything I possibly could have to where we could come home and I could cook it up and we could eat. Everybody ate. Everybody loved it. And also said that it far exceeded a restaurant burger or a fast food burger. And it just really blessed me. But then after that, I shared with the kids, this all cost about $25. And I got the good brioche bread. I got the good stuff.
And we had leftovers.
So you can also really be in communication, share with them those things, like the value of eating at home. You're going to feel better. You're not going to feel as weighty. You get leftovers, and the cost is far less to eat at home than to eat out. And you can still do some, processed things or whatever. Like, I did pre-cooked fries or pre-made fries. So I just reheated those. I didn't make them myself. I didn't make the bread. I bought the bread, and it was brioche bread. So that's the other thing, is when you're eating, like with your grocery budget, because you're going to scale back maybe eating out, your grocery budget, you want to have things in the home that are very attractive for the family so that they don't feel like we're missing out on eating out.
Yeah, and that's just one example, and that might be, specifically eating out. But I think one of the things that I really also wanted to key in with this video is, I know we're approaching summer. I mean, we homeschool our kids. Most of kids though are pretty much done with the school year, and summer plans, summer vacations, different things like that. There are still a lot of things that you can do. There's a lot of places that offer passes for the summer that are more low cost, that you can say, let's get the summer pass to be able to go to this, trampoline park, or be able to go, SeaWorld, or be able to go to some place. A lot of them are low cost. Museums, different parks, lakes and stuff like that, and that is the encouragement, or more of the content that it's like, hey guys, in this time, yes, a lot of us have to scale back. I know we do, but that doesn't mean that we just don't have to say no, or that the capacity or ability for us to be able to still do things as a family, to create memories, that it has to go away. So I encourage you to get creative, find local groups that might have suggestions that say, hey, even if it's just like, hey, we get together and at a park, and every so often we'll have a water balloon fight, or we'll do this, or we'll do that. Like, there's a lot of different options.
For some of those smaller trips, like we mentioned about the beach, we might be doing it with a family. So we can do like an overnight stay, but cut the expense in half.
Yeah,
of staying somewhere.
And share that expense. And then that also provides the opportunity for your kids to have some friends along with them that they can play with, and things like that, So it's just, again, guys, it's tough times, right? And it's affecting us across the board, but it's up to us to be creative and find those ways to create those memories for our kids, for our families, in our lives. It's the moments that count. I always tell my kids, you're not going to remember the stuff, you're going to remember the moments. I know that my wife and I, just in the last couple of weeks, we've heard about different things, or different resources, or different possibilities that, are they scaled back versions of what we had planned? Sure. But it's still something.
It's still creating memories, and that's what we really want to do in the heart of it. Yeah.
So anyway, guys, if you like this content, if you like this video, please like, subscribe, leave a comment below. Even if it's like, that dude needs to stop talking, whatever it might be. So we just appreciate you guys watching. Thank you.
And also share some ideas of what you guys do as families. That would also be, we'd love to hear your feedback. And especially if you're in Texas, we'd love to hear, but anywhere you're located.
Yeah.
Thanks.